My name is Bernice Lowe, but I'm better known as B, and I am an executive creative director with an art direction background at Angry Butterfly.
I'm Adam Notzel-Kieser, executive creative director here at Angry Butterfly. Got a writing background, and what else am I supposed to say?
Yeah.
Angry Butterfly is an independent agency here in Toronto.
And it was founded in 2020 by three partners, Aaron Kawalecki, Brent Choi, and Graham Candy.
Today on Canadians Create, we're going to be talking to you about Next to Stoked, a campaign we did for a Canadian cannabis retailer called Stoked. And it's all about finding clever ways to skirt the strict regulations to advertise cannabis retailer. Something very hard to do in Canada and something we're very proud of doing well.
Looking for the dopest nails in town? Here at New Nail Beauty Spa, our design is anything but half-baked. Whether you're feeling a hit of something blazing or more of a chill vibe, we'd be happy to hook you up. Come say hi. Visit us at 2410 Kingston Road, right beside Stoked Cannabis.
Okay, sweet. So, Angry Butterflies, you're all here, fluttering around the studio.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Good to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Let's just introduce you to our Canadians Create audience. For starters, let's jump into you personally, and then we can talk a little bit about the agency, if that's cool.
Sure.
All right.
You
So
want first?
I'll go first, alphabetical.
there you go.
I'm Adam
Yeah.
Notzel-Kieser. That's how you say that.
Say that again, please.
Notzel-Kieser.
Okay.
Yeah. Notzel is my mom's name.
Uh-huh.
Kieser is my dad's.
Okay.
They couldn't choose. So they gave me both.
All right.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm ECD here at Angry Butterfly.
You are what, sir?
ECD,
Okay.
Executive Creative Director.
There you go.
Really happy to be here talking about Stoked, as they say.
You're stoked to talk about Stoked.
We must be.
B?
I am Bernice Lowe, but as I said, most people know me as B. I am also one of the executive creative directors at Angry Butterfly with an art background.
Huh?
Writer, art.
Mm.
What do you call it?
She's the DJ, I'm the rapper.
There you go.
Well,
Okay, there
DJ
you go.
Jazzy Jeff, Fresh Prince. Yeah.
Should I pass it to Shanice?
There we go. Pass it to Shanice on the screen.
Great. Well, my name is Shanice Piercy. I am an art director, and I have worked with these lovely folks for, I guess, a couple years now. I don't know. Time flies.
Shanice was with us from almost the beginning, I think, right, Shanice?
Yeah.
Beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Conception
joined
of-
after you were here for a while.
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 Okay, now that you said that, we got to ask. So give us the DL on Angry Butterfly. It's a great name. What's the identity of the agency and its legacy or age?
Well, Angry Butterfly is an independent agency in Toronto. We were founded in 2020 by three partners, Aaron Kawalecki, Brent Choi, and Graham Candy. Do you want to talk a bit about the name?
Sure. I mean, usually it's someone else who presents the etymology of the name, but from what I've heard as they present it, so I think butterflies are one of the things that go through the greatest transformation through being a caterpillar and then a butterfly.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty rudimentary biology. And so I think the idea was just to sort of acknowledge, respect, appreciate, and represent that same sort of transformation, thinking about how we can do that for clients' businesses, for the creatives that we work with, the people that we work with. And then I think butterfly just sounded kind of boring, so they added angry to give it a little bit of,
Just to shake it
bit
up.
of something. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's also a sort of a way to show passion. Because I think anger is not always necessarily negative. I think it is, when you're passionate about something, I think that's kind of it. What's the word I'm looking for? You're the writer.
This is great. You're doing great.
Rewrite me.
I know, right? This is what I always do this. I'm like, okay, I'm trying to say this thing.
What she means to
give me
say.
the words. But no, it really encapsulates sort of the the passion really around the business, the work, the people. So I think that's a bit about where that came from as well.
Nice. And as a self-identified independent agency, what does independence mean to you guys? What is that? Why call that out?
I mean, I think it's an interesting time to be an independent. It's a good time to be an independent. For us, it really just means being able to shape the agency, to be a part of growing it, and also to ensure that the people that are there feel like they're a part of it too. It's not just a leadership-led change and growth and everything like that. It feels like everyone contributes to it. Decisions are made a little quicker. I think we can make, as we're going to talk about with Stoked a bit, you make the decisions to invest in something, and it's a decision made by the people in the room, not people on the other side of the world or anything like that. So there's a nice nimbleness that comes from an independent, and I think for us, we've been at independence, we've been at not independence, and I think we're very happy to be at an independent now.
Instead of Omni Megacorp.
Exactly what they're called now.
We're making robots now.
Yeah.
No, that's cool, guys. I think it's a fun time because there's so many tools at your disposal in this industry to be able to use, and clients that need help. So is that part of the agencies? I guess also one more question about the agency. What's its composure? You're a Canadian agency. Are you geolocated here in Toronto? Or are you dispersed around the country? Where's this lady Shanice at?
Shanice, you're out in Burlington.
Okay.
I'm in Burlington.
Okay, you're Toronto adjacent.
Toronto adjacent, yes. We are located in Toronto in the fact that we have an office in Toronto. However, we do have people across the world, really. Many people from across Canada. So we have people in Halifax, New Brunswick, Vancouver, Montreal. But we also have a few folks living in other countries. Like we have an art director who currently lives in Cairo, Egypt. We have I know, right? An account person in Paris. So we have a few different folks across.
Is her name Emily?
No. Do you know someone in Paris named Emily?
Not personally.
Oh, right, the show.
There you go. You got there, but
it's a good show. It's a good show. Yeah, I'm so not with it.
Don't pretend you don't know.
So how big is your independent agency in terms of headcount? Do you know how many people are your
About 50?
Yeah, just under 50 maybe.
Nice.
But growing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. And because is there a particular, and this is kind of like why I'm asking about the profile of the indie agency, is especially Canadian one that's geo-disperses, what if anything, is your target client profile? If you guys could pick and choose your ideal clients, how do you typify that?
That's a good question. I mean, I think for us, a lot of what we're trying to do is, especially as a newly formed agency, the work, we want to find clients who want to do work that gets noticed, that, can have an impact. That's our ideal state, and I think, again, the work that we're talking about today is one of those examples. But, we want to work with good people who want to do good work. And I think for us, just sort of helps us and allows us to help them.
Yeah. I mean, I think also having people from different parts of the world with different backgrounds, from different cultures, gives us different perspectives for the work as well. And I think this is why diversity is so important in any business, really. But in advertising, knowing how so much of the work really is focused on insights behind the brand, behind the consumers, the type of people. I think having that diverse background of people really helps, make the work better and more targeted to the people that we're talking to. So I think that's, one benefit to having so many people across the country, really, in the world.
And so let's set up this particular case now. So who was the client?
Stoked Cannabis.
Is that, give me the profile of the company. Who are they?
So they're a small independent retail or cannabis retailer, 4 locations in Ontario.
Okay.
And yeah, they were looking to, it's a hard industry, I think, to compete in, to stand out in, both with the restrictions that I think we all are pretty aware of.
Well, no, maybe not. So our audience, of course, is global, and the show is distributed through Little Black Book Online to a global audience.
Yeah.
So for everybody out there who's not in Canada, I think it's worth maybe giving us a picture of what you dug into as you were kind of finding out the problem for this client.
Yeah, no, I mean...
So paint a picture of the industry in Canada, because it's also mysterious for a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
What? It's legal to smoke weed in Canada?
Yeah. Well, and it's funny. It's something that we talked a lot about because it won a couple of Lions at Cannes. And I think cannabis is a arguably very Canadian topic. And so it was interesting. I think Canada is also very much about like awarding work that makes the world better. And there are certainly arguments to be made that cannabis makes people's lives better, and access to it is an improvement. But it was not as sort of readily accepted, I think, in the international judging as it might have been here. So we were very proud and happy and excited and surprised to get the acknowledgement that I think we did in Cannes. But no, cannabis has been legal in Canada for 10 years now. I actually don't know.
Yeah, as far as I know,
Something like
it was
2018.
Exactly.
2018.
Not even 10 years.
Not even 10 years.
No.
But there's so many restrictions around the way you can advertise it or can't advertise it. And so I think that's the fun place to play. You can't advertise your location. You can't advertise the feeling that you get. You can't use animals to advertise it. You can't use celebrities to advertise it. It's a very restrictive. I mean, Shanice, this is sort of your idea from way back in the day, but I think you're probably very familiar with the regulations as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of restrictions around it, and because it's obviously a newly regulated industry in terms of the grand scheme of everything, there's a lot of change that I'm sure we'll see over the next however many years as the industry continues to evolve. But when it first became legalized, and still kind of where things stand now, it felt very confusing to wrap your brain around all of the restrictions, especially in Canada when you think about alcohol advertising, which still has quite, a regulated body around how you can promote, but you can show people with alcohol. You can show a drink beside someone. There's a lot more things you can do, including having spokespeople, like Adam said. And with cannabis, you can't talk about anything to do with the taste, the quality, the effect, anything that you might nod to in alcohol. And so having this sort of restriction around what you can and can't do automatically started to put, I think, our brains in a bit of like a mindset where we were trying to think about how we could say something, how we could potentially get around something, or creative solutions, because we were given these parameters. And sometimes it's nice to be given like carte blanche and just do whatever you want, but sometimes, and I often feel like it's better to have some not rules, but some rules of what you can't do, or in the same way when you get any brief, you have a sandbox to play in, but cannabis advertising is just an even smaller sandbox in a way.
Yeah, give me the freedom of a tightly defined brief.
But
exactly.
It's an interesting thing. Okay, so these guys came to you, they came to the agency.
Well, I mean, I think and Shanice, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the team actually had the idea a while ago, and it never got presented to the client that we had at the time, and we lost a relationship with that client. And so it just sort of sat on the shelf waiting to be brought to life when we actually approached them. And they seemed gung-ho as all heck to do something cool and do something, to take that risk, arguably.
Okay, question. Why them?
There was a personal relationship between our CEO and their owner and founder.
Okay.
So he reached out, and I mean, it's Brent Choi. He's great at that. He knows a lot of people, and he's never afraid to ask if people want to do great stuff. And so we found his connection, Lisa, and she was super into the idea.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So what we've talked about is heavily regulated industry where advertisers have to not really be able to advertise the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to focus on the non-thing, but still achieve an outcome for the business. Should we take a look at the collateral and then we could talk about what you guys did?
Sure.
Cannabis sales are legal in Canada, but cannabis advertising is not. So, we zigzagged the law by advertising neighboring businesses with covert callouts to a chain of Stoked stores and their products. Introducing Next to Stoked, a legal-ish adult-targeted undercover campaign on the buzzkill media channels that prohibit cannabis product ads. First, we skirted Google's strict filters with high-quality pre-rolls to promote a neighboring business and Stoked.
Looking for the dopest nails in town? Whether you're feeling a hit of something blazing or more of a chill vibe, we'd be happy to hook you up. Visit us at 2410 Kingston Road, right beside Stoked Cannabis.
Ready for your mind to go places you've never been? Is an altered state of mind the present? Or is it the future? Find high-quality inspiration here at Cliffside Village Books, next door to Stoked Cannabis.
Can a business like yours use a commercial wiring upgrade? Let's get you lit. Roll by Stoked Cannabis and see my work up close in person.
Our covert out-of-home ads were approved by national media companies. And we hacked Meta and TikTok's notoriously strict anti-cannabis ad filters. Then the conversation got rolling.
Did anyone else notice the pot shop on there?
Is this really an ad for a bookstore?
We duped national out-of-home companies, radio stations, and global social platforms. In just 30 days, our sales were on fire, proving that when the law sucks, you find a big, fat loophole.
Okay, cool. So the idea was you can't advertise this place directly in a sense, but you can advertise neighboring businesses.
Yeah.
And then, embed these guys in it.
Yeah.
Okay, so many questions. To start off, right? You said this was an idea that you guys had, and then you wanted to apply it to this particular brand of 4 stores.
Yeah.
How was the process, or how did that process of kind of adapting it go about? Did you do diligence in the neighborhoods and like go and meet all these store owners? What did that go like? And I would love to see BTS of you like pitching the concept to like someone who has the nail salon, next door.
Yeah. I mean, yes, exactly. We when we knew we were going to be working with Stoked, we went to the locations to find the places that worked well. Right. There was one in particular that actually had a lot of these places nearby. They also had one in Niagara Falls. And so I think we did an out-of-home board for them, like a digital out-of-home, always in the evening for the out-of-home. And trying to, because you want to be safe-ish in the way you do it. You don't want to advertise to minors or anything like that, even though you're trying to be clever in the way you do. Yeah. So I think we went to the shops nearby, pitched it. Some were in it from the beginning. Some took a bit of persuasion. And then I think the new nails, they were pretty gung ho. I'm sort of looking at Shanice, because I think you did a lot of the outreach to them.
I think the interesting part about this project was kind of like creating shells of what we thought we wanted to do, and almost like, what's that saying? Like building the plane while we're flying it.
Yeah.
Am I making that up? Is that a saying?
It is.
Where we had sort of the structure and we had obviously the crux of our idea, but as we were reaching out and figuring out who we were going to work with, we had evolutions of scripts and possible out of home pieces or social pieces and all these different parts of the campaign. And then I think it was such a group effort to get people on board and then kind of get the scripts into a place we were happy with. And it was almost yeah, it was just such a collaborative effort that I think we were able to make the creative so strong because we just had so much fun playing with these commonalities. There's a lot more in common than you might initially think between the nail store and the cannabis store. And so I think the writers in particular had a lot of fun finding those, those double entendres between the words and things like that. So
two things.
It's a good process.
On one hand, it's kind of interesting because you've got the problem of geolocation in advertising anyway, which is a difficult kind of thing. But to be hyper specific to drive business to that particular location, let's talk about that. We'll come back to the cheekiness of the campaign in a second. But using all these social platforms, digital advertising channels, what was your approach to make sure that you could actually target as specific as possible to a street corner or a particular location?
Yeah. Do you want to take that? Do you want me to take that? I'm happy to.
I mean, you can start.
Sure. I mean, yeah, because we were able to use geo-targeting to make sure that it sort of stayed within the area so that it was, because I think for those that knew it was relevant to them in that, I know that sandwich shop, or I know that nail salon, it helped make it all the more relevant to them. And so we had it geo-targeted to like 5 kilometer sort of space.
Okay.
And then with some of the out-of-home pieces, we had a little corner of the map that drew the dotted line from one to the other to help sort of
from here to there.
Yeah, to make that connection.
You are here.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you should be here.
You're here. You want to be up there.
Yeah, exactly.
Really high up there.
Yeah, super high.
Exactly. Well, and we internally have our own media folks, which is amazing because I think that being able to have our own in-house people and working so closely with them in terms of making sure that, the media buy was exactly what we were looking for in terms of geo-targeting a certain area. I think that, we have other media partners that we've worked with other brands and stuff, and we always work pretty closely with all our partners. But having our own in-house folks, I think, really benefited us in particular for this campaign, knowing how specific we needed the media to be.
Yeah.
On that note, though, was this brand already using digital advertising?
I don't think they were doing much, just because I think the laws are so strict with advertising cannabis. I do think a lot of the brands don't do much other than like in-store advertising, just, because of the advertising laws. So
this is interesting. On that note, so did all of these campaigns go through, like, I guess use a third-party advertising agency? It doesn't matter. I don't know how this gets audited in Canada, but is there any recourse that you had to cover your tracks on in terms of how you placed the ads? Like, which company placed the ad? Was it your client or was it you?
I think it was our media people. Yeah.
On behalf of end client. And that can happen for anybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and I mean, that's actually an interesting point too, because I think, a lot of the advertising you do see for cannabis is the cannabis brands themselves.
Yeah.
And that's where they really struggle to sort of talk about what it's like to smoke a sativa or an indica. So they really don't. They sort of, they allude to it, but you don't see a lot of retailers advertising because you can't say where they are.
Right.
So what's the point of advertising if you can't tell people where to find you?
This is a big problem that you guys cracked with this.
Yeah.
At the same time, the businesses that were cool with being on camera and participating in your campaigns, what was their typical experience with digital advertising, if at all, until this?
I don't know if I know the answer, but I think I can say confidently, not really confidently. I don't think they many of them were very like individual sort of mom and pop kind of shops.
Retail shops.
I know like
pedestrian sales.
Yeah, exactly. The neighborhood sales, like Cliffside Village Books, for instance. I know they had an Instagram account.
Was that a real guy?
Oh, Real Stores.
That guy was an actor, right?
He was an actor.
Okay.
But he was great. We wanted to find people that felt as authentic, like they weren't
that
really
a wig?
acting. No, that was his real hair. This is real hair. There's real juice box too.
Oh, real.
We have to watch the spots at some point because we were watching them a bit as we were setting up.
Yeah.
The Cliffside Village Books one just makes me laugh every time.
Yeah.
And then the song gets stuck in my head and I sing it a lot.
Do you want to watch it right now?
Sure.
Can we load that one up, please?
I'm searching for life again.
You ever feel the need to escape?
I'm searching for a new beginning.
Ready for your mind to go places you've never been? Is an altered state of mind the present? Or is it the future? And sometimes it's worth wondering, what came first, the flower or the seed? Looking to get lost in thought? Find high-quality inspiration here at Cliffside Village Books. Open Tuesday to Saturday, 2404 Kingston Road, next door to Stoked Cannabis.
We were obsessed with Russell.
Okay, I gotta ask the question though. So, like, what was uptake of all these ads from existing customers of those businesses? Not Stoked, but the neighborhood businesses that you were advertising.
I know we heard anecdotally that, there was like a great degree of increase in foot traffic as a result of it.
Right.
Whether they, I don't actually remember if they put them onto their own like social channels or anything like that. But yeah, they definitely the foot traffic increase as a result of the campaign to Stoked Cannabis also brought them into these other neighboring stores.
Sure.
Which is cool.
Yeah. It's definitely interesting, right? Because it's an ecosystem play. Okay, so let's talk about Stoked Cannabis now. So people, were caught on pretty quick that this was a fun thing that you were doing.
Yeah.
And earned media was pretty massive, I'm guessing.
I think so.
Like this, the story of the campaign probably, eclipsed the brand equity value add to the client.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at the same time, I mean, that itself has its own turn for the brand, right? Like everyone suddenly now nationally knows Stoked as a brand.
Yeah.
So outside of the uplift in sales for those retail locations, what are the outcomes that this campaign have had? And also, when did it run? Is it still running? Are we still learning things from it?
It's no longer running, I don't think.
When was this? We didn't even talk about that.
Shanice, do you remember exactly when it ran?
So it was last year now. So it was a little while ago. So I know that the intention with the way our team structured it was, we launched this local geo-targeted paid campaign, and then the intention, which worked, was to get the PR kind of from that. So I think what it did, interestingly, is started a big conversation within the world of cannabis and cannabis retailers in Canada, and I think it gave Stoked a really interesting platform to have these conversations with other retailers where they're all experiencing the similar struggles. And so we saw a lot of PR and podcasts and other people kind of reaching out saying that they loved the way we found a workaround, and that it just really sparked kind of this fresh thinking of how we could potentially advertise within the cannabis industry. So I know that from a PR perspective, it was really interesting to see how it started a conversation within the industry that we were advertising for, because that's not always the case for certain products. It doesn't always work that way, but to kind of play that role, I think was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Pushing dialogue forward about the industry is a big impact. Big impact that wasn't necessarily intended from the outset, but maybe you can speak to whether that's also improved outcomes in this channel, in this segment of clients for the company. Have you had other cannabis companies approach Angry Butterfly and say, help us?
I don't think we have.
I don't think we have had cannabis clients. Granted, anyone who does reach out to us typically reaches out to Brent or Aaron or Graham.
Okay.
But I do know we have had other brands reach out to the agency after seeing the Stoked campaign and seeing, how great it was, how creative it was, and saying to us like, hey, we want something like that. So it actually has helped bring in some business.
Well, that's it. It's really cheeky because I think the thing is this could work in any product, right? Especially for retail. Like there's neighborhoods time and time again you see in the urban core anywhere or in the suburbs where everyone goes to that one store. Let's say like a grocery store in a strip mall. They'll go to that Loblaws. But what about the other stores surrounding it.
You know? Yeah. Well, and I think there is definitely hope and interest on Stoke's side and hope on ours to do more work with them. And I think what's great about this campaign is it's created a bit of a brand persona for them, this sort of feisty challenger, not afraid to, stir things up kind of attitude, which is something we're really excited about as an agency to sort of see what the next version of that is. Hopefully something sweet.
Okay, let's take a step back and talk about Canada, okay? Because I think the campaign's cool, and I'm sure our audience will definitely have enjoyed watching that ad spot and the recap of the campaign. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, right? What you guys did, why you were also excited about the concept, which is why it stayed on the shelf until it was the right moment. But let's talk about Canada, and let's talk about any lessons that you might have for, global audiences, considering the nuances of the Canadian market, that you can draw from this campaign. Have you guys ruminated on this, and have you learned anything through this campaign that you're taking into your work in general for other clients that are also representative of kind of like Canada? Because I see like definitely cannabis is obviously a unique industry to this country. The way it's handled is unique, the restrictions that you mentioned. But are there other things as well?
It's a great question. The first thing that comes to mind is built a bit off of the sort of the stereotype of Canadians being quiet or polite or sort of meek or not troublemakers or whatever. And I think for us, and it's also in our name, like we don't want to be that quiet, meek, sort of not making troubles, not making waves kind of agency. And I think you have to recognize that Canada is different than their stereotypes. And I think that was something that felt like a nice sort of way to bring that to life in this campaign. It was tricky, it was cheeky, it was fun, and it was kind of ballsy for, like there was a risk. We're taking a risk. And I think for us in this instance, it really worked out.
Okay, I got to ask then on that note, like, was there any negative backlash? Like, I mean, have you been shadow banned by, Facebook?
I mean, we might have received a letter or two, but never in any sort of meaningful, long-lasting, or serious ways.
Okay.
And I think that's what happens when you sort of play in a place that most people are nervous to, and the restrictions are there for a reason. But I think for us, it was playing with those restrictions without breaking the law, and so that felt like the best place to be.
No risk, no reward, right?
Exactly.
They say?
Exactly.
As creatives working in this industry, I think this campaign is kind of interesting for a number of reasons, right? One of them also is about the evolving nature of creative problem solving. And if there's anything you guys can collaboratively like share about that, and maybe it's perspective from the agency, but it could be your own particular, individual perspectives. How are things changing in the industry, do you think, to be able to, not to be able to have to be more avant-garde, to have to be pushing things forward with how you're thinking of solutions?
I mean, for me, I think budgets are a big thing. I think, more and more clients are spending less. And so, I think Canada, sort of a bit to your earlier question, I think in Canada, our budgets are lower compared to many other countries around the world to begin with.
Right.
And so when we have lower budgets, you have to be a bit more creative. And so with now clients spending less and less on advertising campaigns, I think it's really important to make sure, our budget obviously goes as far as we can make it, but having clever ideas like this where it doesn't cost $1 million,
right?
Obviously I think it speaks volumes to the work even more, considering you can see it. And I think the part of it too with this particular campaign, it helped that we were leaning into a bit of that
homemade kind of fun.
Oh,
yeah.
So I think that helped, with not having a big budget. But I think regardless, it goes to show that you don't necessarily need. We would love more money, but you don't need more money to make something great if the idea is there.
Yeah, and at the same time, that's just, well, I want to go there. I was going to say, if you can start, I keep hearing this story from Canadian, let's call it advertisers, that were very capital efficient in creative solutions to problems. And then I haven't yet heard many cases where that efficiency is doubled down on. So it's like, rather than spend on creative, spend on, propagation, and then spend on changing commitment to the agency in a long-term sense. I guess with bigger advertisers, there's more budget and stuff. But it's definitely a lesson that I think, international CMOs watching this should pick up on. That's the way I would look at it as a business person, is to say, wow, if I could be capital efficient, like my low capex entry into a campaign is something that I can then roll budget into operating, right? And think less about short-term windows, because I feel like there's an opportunity to change that as audiences are craving interactions with brands in new ways.
Yeah.
Like, I don't just want to hear from you for 2 months of the year. I want to know you every day.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think that's a big part of that, is creating that personality so that people know what they're interacting with and how to, and what to expect in the way they interact with you. I mean, I would love for us to be more involved in the Stoked, Instagram accounts and their social media. They do a great job of it themselves, and I think they are very much in their neighborhoods, which is awesome. But yeah, it's that interaction is a hard thing to maintain. Yeah.
Nice. Any particular individual takeaways from this campaign that were hilarious or unexpected?
Yes. The man who plays Enzo from Spectrum Electric in our spot had never had a burrito before, which is sort of the anecdote I assume you're looking for. And so we fed him. We had craft services, and he had his first burrito, and he was blown away by it. And I, as a person who loves burritos and would have them almost as much as I would have pizza, I was shocked by this. And so God bless him. He took away this great experience of being in a fun commercial, and he had his first burrito. Wow. And I was just proud to be a part of an important moment like that.
Sure. Yeah. That's huge.
Yeah. Really huge.
Changed a man's life.
Oh, yeah.
Forget his business outcomes. You changed his
100%.
Life.
Yeah. I bet he's had 92 burritos since then. Yeah.
I hope it was a good first burrito.
It was pretty good.
Okay, good.
It was pretty good. Good. Yeah. I don't know if there's any serious answers.
Oh, were we looking for serious answers?
Well, you're looking at the wrong person if you're looking at me.
Whatever serious thought.
I know. Shanice, did you have a more serious answer? I feel like that's not coming from
I can't remember right now.
No, that's awesome, guys. I think it's a really fun case, and it was super cool to see how your commitment to the creative vision that you had for this solution ended up resulting in value for this client, and it's something I think that's a big takeaway too, especially for industry insiders that are watching or listening to this, is that far too often I think people get in that cycle of like create, discard, and holding on to good ideas is important, because timing is everything as well. And just because the timing feels wrong doesn't mean that it is wrong.
Yeah.
Right? It just might not be the right client fit or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's good to be able to know when you want to go after something too, and reaching out to people to make it happen, which is, I think, something that's big for us and big in the industry.
Actually, yeah, I mean, that's a huge topic. That's a big topic. Massive topic. that needs actually its own roundtable, I think, is about business development in the sector and how nobody does it. Or not nobody does it, but like, big, huge global brands don't necessarily do it. And it's difficult for them to, sing for their supper. But at the same time, like, this is a very different type of campaign than, so much work that you see.
Yeah.
Because it really is kind of like a kind of a fun, honest, creative idea that's executed in a way that's agile. It's not something that's super big and convoluted and requiring a lot of participants and moving pieces. So I think there's it's cool to bring this to camera, because there's so many adaptations of this kind of approach that people can learn from, I think.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, it's a type of work that you can't see everyone. I should say every agency, even in this country, being able to do, right?
No, for sure. And I to circle back to our, part of our first part of the conversation of working at an independent agency. I think, doing campaigns like this, it's easier to bring it to life when you work at an independent where you don't have to, call New York or Japan or whatnot, to get approvals on an idea or a budget or whatnot. Like, it really is just up to the partners.
Yeah.
They believe in an idea, they invest in it, and and you make it happen.
So you've called Japan before for approval?
Not me personally.
Yeah, exactly. But
Mitsubishi?
Your largest phone, please.
Yeah.